So before we go too much further with the video, I want you to push pause after you go to my science book on Classroom. We're going to make a new triangle divider. We'll just copy these matter notes. Oh, sorry, this is the older version. I got in a crunch with a power outage and just had to take a picture of what I had. These are the ones you want to copy, the one that's sideways. Okay, this is the newer, better version. It's easier to read. So copy these matter notes, and then these elements, compounds, and mixture notes. That's it. Push pause until you get that written in, and then I will, you can replay it, and I'll go through and explain it to you. Alright, so assume you did what I asked. With the matter notes, I know they're sideways, but look at yours and just listen to what I'm saying. Matter, you did a lot of that in elementary school. Properties of matter, the matters you think has math, takes up space. We know that that's called volume now. And we just remind ourselves the tools that we use to measure those things and the units of measurement that go along with them. The matter can be classified either as a mixture or a pure substance. We did a lot of mixtures in elementary school. We're just taking it up a level and adding our fancy science words. So you could have a solution or a mechanical mixture. And some of the ways you'll hear those described as being a homogeneous mixture and being uniformly distributed, meaning equally distributed all the way out. Like if I uniformly distributed candy, everybody gets the same. And then with the heterogeneous that we're referring to, it's different. So these are not uniform. So the biggest difference here are solutions. When you hear that, you might think liquid, but you can have gas as a solution, like the air you're breathing. It's actually all of these different gases combined. This one, salt water. There's salt in the water. That one you're pretty familiar with, and you probably evaporated the water away and left the salt behind. So it's not a chemical combination. And even chocolate. Obviously, chocolate is solid, but to get it to become chocolate, you had to take the sugar and the milk and the cocoa and melt it, mix it together, and let it solidify. These three words, notice how they all have SOL in them, including also the word dissolve. Those are all related. So we related it to Kool-Aid or Crystal Light. The solute is your powder, right? Like your Crystal Light powder, your Kool-Aid powder. The solvent is the water, the thing you're dissolving it in. And when you mix them together, it produces a solution, which is your Kool-Aid drink, Crystal Light, whatever mixture. Okay? With the heterogeneous, this is easier to identify as a mixture. Like you look at it and go, this is a bunch of different stuff together, like trail mix. Or pick your favorite cereal. Like we put Lucky Charms, where you can pick out the marshmallows from the cereal. Or Big Raisin Bran, you can pick out the raisins. You can put whatever examples you want here, but like a salad, the tomatoes, the lettuce, the onions, or a fruit salad. If that's something you're more comfortable with. It doesn't always have to be food. So we put soil. We learned a lot about that in elementary school. The different layers. It's not just the dirt. There's the good bacteria and all the organic matter that helps things grow. These are two words that you're going to hear occasionally. I just don't want them to take you by surprise. They're not necessarily 6th grade level, but you can handle it. So you might hear colloid or suspension. Right? These are different types of heterogeneous mixtures. The difference is how big the particles are. In a colloid, the particles are really small, so they're different pieces, but you can't necessarily see with your eyes. So think about like mayonnaise or natural peanut butter, how the oil kind of separates out over time. Even fog, because in fog there's water vapor, air, dust particles, but it just looks more white. But suspension, that's one of those kind of more obvious ones. So think about like Italian salad dressing, you have to shake up before you pour it on your salad, because all the seasoning and everything settles to the bottom. Or a snow globe. It's obviously artificial snow in water. You shake it up, and it'll stay there for a second, mixed, but then it'll settle out because the particles are so big. Okay, so I'd assume that these words take you by surprise. But going a little deeper, since we've done mixtures before now, we're going to spend a lot of our time on these elements and compounds. Okay, so you see the three things that we're looking at, and notice there are different visual representations of each. Because when we have something that's too small for us to see, we use models to help us understand it. And depending on if we have the image in color, we can use different colors. Or if it's black and white, we might use different shapes. So we just want to be comfortable with whatever image is thrown at us. So you see here with elements, we've written some of them, like straight from the periodic table, using their symbols. And then we looked at them individually. Okay, so aluminum is fine being by itself. And you may see it as just dots, because atoms, you've seen drawings of atoms, with like the little orbits around it. We'll go with that. We sort of know what an atom looks like, but not 100%, because anything we would look at it with or take a picture with is also made of atoms. And it's so small that we have a rough idea what it looks like. We use different models to show the different properties of an atom. Okay? And so with this, we make our life easy and make some dots. All right, so you see aluminum here, aluminum foil. Right? Oxygen, the gas you need to breathe, it always likes to be with the buddy. So it buddies with itself, or like with carbon dioxide that you breathe out, or CO2. And notice that they're just dots, but they're touching. This shows that they are chemically combined. But they're the same thing. It's just two copies. They're just together. And then the B there is for boron. So if you've made slime, you probably use borax. I mean, there's different recipes. But borax is a laundry detergent. You can get at HEB. And boron is in it. Okay? And we represented it here with little triangles. So let's say it's black and white. I could draw it with different shapes to represent it. So here are some of the pieces of information we need to know. That elements only contain one type of atom, just one. They cannot be broken down into simpler substances by physical or chemical means. Right? So I can't really go any smaller than an element. There are subatomic particles that you'll learn a little bit more about later, like protons, neutrons, electrons. But it's kind of like if I took pieces off the car and had a tire here and a bumper over here. It's not a car anymore. It's just spare parts. It's the same thing. Okay, the atom is the smallest unit before you just have random bits. And then it says it exists as atoms or as molecules. Okay, so example of atom would be the aluminum, and the molecule being the O2. Right, so you're going to hear this word by just common folk, but in science it has a very specific meaning. It's a certain type of bonding between nonmetals. But at this level, we don't expect you to know the difference. I just want you to know it has a very specific one in chemistry, but the collective average person will use the word molecule to mean compound. But you're going to know better. Okay? Now, speaking of compounds, like compound words, like basketball. So here we have them represented in a bunch of different ways. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we wrote the chemical formulas. Notice how they're written. We're using the element symbols, which is either a capital or a capital and a lowercase. That's the only way we write it. Okay? It's not capital N, capital A. No. And we'll go more into the specifics of why later. But these we're familiar with. We got water and salt. And this is sugar. Like the white stuff you put in like tea or Kool-Aid. You call it sugar. But sugar is a lot of different things. This specific kind, the white stuff you put in tea, is called sucrose. You've probably heard of fructose, which is fruit sugar, or lactose, which is milk sugar. Or if someone's diabetic and needs to check their sugars, that's glucose. But notice they all end in ose. It's the family of chemicals that are sugars. Okay. So for our compounds, we want the stuff we were familiar with. We got our salt and our water. Okay. So notice with the salt, I use two different colors. Okay. Or if I was in black and white, I can use two different shapes. But remember here, sodium is a soft metal that explodes with water. Chlorine is a deadly green gas. But when they chemically combine, they make a new substance with new properties. So it's like it reinvents itself, it has a new identity. And when these two deadly substances come together, it makes the deliciousness that I sprinkle on my french fries. Okay? Over here with water, you'll see that we showed the H's, there's two of them, they're the smaller circles, and O is in green. You can use whatever colors you want, so. This is really what water molecules look like. Kind of looks like Mickey Mouse. But notice the difference in size between hydrogen and oxygen. If you find both of those on your periodic table, Hydrogen is the tiniest, smallest atom. And the further you go on the periodic table, the bigger they get. So there is a size difference between hydrogen and oxygen. Now, what we just talked through in words, it contains atoms of 2 or more different elements. Remember, O2 was an element because it was just oxygen. Okay, but these are different elements. It's not enough that they're just together. They are chemically combined or bonded, right? And even more, just point in a specific ratio, right? So water, if I have hydrogen and oxygen, I can make a lot of things. I can make hydrogen peroxide. You know, you have a towel on your knee and pour it from the brown bottle and it bubbles and fizzes. That's very different than this. So it's a certain ratio. It's like if I was going to follow my recipe for cookies, like chocolate chip cookies, but I didn't have the right amounts of things, they wouldn't be the way they should be. I'd make something, but it wouldn't be chocolate chip cookies. And you can break these down, but only chemically. So it could be with a chemical reaction, it could be burning it could be any number of things. That is a chemical change. And just like with the sodium and the chlorine that make salt, they have different properties than their original stuff. Okay. Now mixtures. Right? So here you can put whatever ones help you remember mixtures. I would maybe put ones that I was less familiar with to keep it fresh in my brain. But really here it's just kind of a hodgepodge. You know, different shapes, different colors, whatever. Lots of different stuff in the same place. But notice none of them are touching. Okay, so none of these are bonded together. Or here, we could say that this might be fog, right? This could be water droplet, or this could be oxygen in air. Not fog. I'm sorry, just like a dust storm. This could be water. This could be literally dirt. It doesn't matter. This is okay that these are touching, but these aren't touching the little dots. Okay? Or to look at salt water, since we seem to have a theme like hydrogen and oxygen and sodium and chlorine, this is how it would look. So this guy's a team, these guys are a team, but together they're just occupying the same space. They're not part of the same team overall. So the verbal part is that they contain 2 or more substances, right, that are not bonded. They're just in the same space. I can literally take them apart. So it can physically be like take a pair of tweezers and move them. I could use a magnet. I could evaporate away the liquid, right? And it keeps the properties of its container. Like taking the raisins out of trail mix, it's still a raisin. It still tastes like a raisin. It still looks like a raisin. Okay. So get these things copied down. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you look at these different periodic tables here. We went in a lot more detail in class, like looking at different examples, just depending on what the kids were asking. But your warm-ups and to-do list is always there. So from the other day that I forgot, sorry. These things on yours and here, right? The mixtures practice is listed right here. Use those notes. All you're doing is looking at these substances and deciding is it a mechanical mixture or solution. You saw from your notebook, this is a new page, just number to 10. And it's like one of those, math homework assignments with like the cringy answer that's really funny. Yeah, the answer will help you understand if you got one of these wrong. You may need to look up brass and number 9 solder, because those might be things you're less familiar with. Okay. You've got that. And then you've got Simply symbols, which of course I didn't have one. Sorry. All you're doing is looking at the periodic table. Of course, I closed something else. Looking at the periodic table and finding the symbol. So it's a word search, or a crossword. One across, capital T, lowercase h. I look on my periodic table, and I go, oh, it's element 90, thorium. And I click thorium. That's it. Just what is the element that goes with this element symbol? Okay, and then I look at number 2, capital A, lowercase s. And that's it. Double check everything else is finished, that you don't own anything like your Gizmo or any puzzles. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks, guys.